Love knows no bounds. It can be complex, confusing, and sometimes unexpected. In an old wooden house located in the very depths of Russia, Jasmine's 45-year-old stepmother turned out to be one with my 18-year-old Jasmine's husband, Paul, was in business trip, leaving behind a void which felt familiar at the same time. An anxious Jasmine was all for the floor, a caring mother. Although their relationship sometimes there were several, the indeterminate gender admired her strength, the beauty and warmth that she brought. Often noticed them in their house, as if on the sly, looks at her, remembering the moments that they spent time together at dinner or in the time of quiet evenings by the fireplace. Between them there was a connection, but in the last month she became tense and noticeably more saturated. Had known of them, could find the words to determine what had happened one evening. Silence and tear was an almost tangible shadow in the room thrown back by the fire came to life on the walls. The crackling of the firewood filled the empty floor. I felt a longing that went beyond the simple attachment. He wanted to be closer to Jasmine, share something more with her. Deep, it was not just a feeling. The comfort of the fire or the loneliness of home was associated with her presence, filling every corner of the room. Gathering his courage, he broke silence. Can we spend this evening only the two of us? Could barely hear his voice. The question made Jasmine freeze. Inside, everything about her was filled with anxiety and uncertainty. You need to rest, Paul, she replied softly. Your father will be back soon. But Paul didn't give up. His gaze expressed vulnerability that struck her to the depths of her soul. I feel that I hardly know you as well as I would like to, he said. Just one night. Heart. Jasmine began to throb as she reached for the floor, but the feeling of guilt lured her into their relationship. Felt like something important, but at the same time the forbidden. This is wrong, she whispered, although her words sounded unconvincingly. However, the evening continued to be filled with their quiet conversations and laughter. Interaction became closer and closer. To space between them, the floor shortened, leaned closer, and Jasmine felt her determination. She touched and felt attracted to him, adrenaline and exciting every touch of his, and the look seemed more personal than anything else that she had ever experienced. When Paul gently took her hand, a warmth engulfed me, as if a fire was flaring up inside. Please, Jasmine, let me in at least for this night. I promise that I won't. I'll make it awkward, he said quietly. A struggle unfolded inside her. Wanted to maintain a responsible role, stepmothers, but the desire was too strong. She understood that she was going through difficult times. Emotions, it seemed like a betrayal, but something inside her was telling her to go towards. This is wrong. Again she whispered, but her voice trembled from doubt. Why? He answered with, we're just two people, challenged Jasmine. Harsh sighed. She saw in the field not only stepson, but also the person she was drawn to. Perhaps he has been for her for too long, something permanent, and now she realized that maybe I always wanted this. Not, I know what this means, she said quietly. That her words were barely audible, but had weight. Floor looked at her with softness which melted away her last doubts. At that moment Jasmine realized that love, it comes in different forms. It can be pure but complex and impossible to ignore. Their connection was real, and the walls that she erected, the heart was breaking madly. It was beating well only for that night. The evening passed in conversation, laughter and frankness that made them closer. They shared dreams, fears and hopes for future. Jasmine felt vulnerable, but this vulnerability brought her freedom. As the night faded, their conversations became quieter and softer. Paul's hand found her again, but this time she moved away and allowed herself to remain in the moment, forgetting about everything that was waiting for outside of this house. However, as dawn broke, Jasmine felt heaviness. The intimacy of the night that happened was real, but the feeling of guilt did not leave. She gave in to her hidden desires, and now they were impossible. Ignore the floor, still sleeping next to him. The breathing was calm, and for a short moment she allowed herself to enjoy their connection. Seemed deep and warm, amenable. Jasmine knew what was waiting for them: difficulties, questions, doubts, and maybe condemnation surrounding. But at that moment within the walls they found something. In this wooden house, true love can arise in the most unexpected circumstance. It is complex, contradictory, and sometimes frightening, confused, but it was their story, and whatever happens next they will face with this together.